Good evening. I'm in Australia, so it's my morning and your evening. And just come to a seat wherever you are. So you can sit up in a chair or you can sit on the floor. Just finding a comfortable seat. So we have one less thing to fidget about and to think about. We have enough of those. So just come into a seat. And one thing that I like to do often is to move my pelvis back and forth or swirl my spine a little bit, just to get a little bit of movement out of the way, and also to find that like sweet center spot, like that place where you feel like you're right in the middle, which is a hard place to find, but middle-ish. And then whenever you think or you feel like, yeah, this feels good, this feels like center, then slow down there, find some stillness, and you can close your eyes down. And then press down through your sit bones, whatever's touching the chair or the floor or the bolster, and reach up through the crown of the head. So you're reaching in opposite directions. You'll find some more length here, some more space. Maybe you can even feel this extra space between the ribs and the hips. And you just begin to settle into the body. And right from this space, you can notice the energy in the body, like what the energy of your, not necessarily your day has been like, but what your energy is right now. Sometimes that's really apparent, and sometimes it takes a little investigation, but that's what we're here to learn to do. This mindfulness style meditation is that we're just noticing what's coming up. We're getting to feel in and catch these messages and cues from our body, which is something that in our addiction we definitely don't. I can definitely speak for myself anyway. The connection and the relationship to my emotions and my feelings and my body's cues and messaging, that path of communication wasn't very open for me. So this was the learning to listen. And sometimes what we hear is pleasant and sometimes it's not. And especially when it's not, to foster this ability to stay. I'm thinking day to day, we like to think of things as good and as bad. One thing that's been helpful is in mindfulness meditation, they encourage to think about things as maybe pleasant and unpleasant. That seems more manageable. Like this is an unpleasant sensation, or this is a pleasant. We just notice what comes up. And in the noticing, can we still stay in the observer role so that we don't get tied into the story? So we feel something come up, we notice what's going on, but don't follow that thought pattern, or we don't follow that rumination or that old story or whatever it is that's around it. That we just notice what it is, and then we come back to just watching rather than reacting and responding. And here's an invitation to join me in this. You can, or you can stay just watching the breath and the thoughts. So a little practice in noticing. We can use our senses. And this is something I do when, especially if my mind is quite scattered. It's like I give myself a little task. So I might think, what can I hear where I am? So probably the sound of my voice is the loudest, but there's so many layers of sound regardless of where we are, even in places that are seemingly quiet. So you can open up that sense, and what can you hear? Maybe attaching to the thing that's farthest away even. And then what can you feel like on an external landscape? So earlier we were talking about internal and emotions, but what can we feel in terms of where you're sitting, like where you're meeting the ground or the chair? What does that feel like? Maybe your hands are on jeans or the type of fabric of your pants. I'm sitting out on a deck, so I have a slight breeze that's touching my skin. So any feel sensations. So beautiful about using the senses is we can use them as anchor points when we find ourselves caught up in the past or in the future. Is it these sensations, the breath, the feel, the sound, all of that is happening right in the present moment. So that helps to anchor us in to the present. So beautiful, simple little tools to bring us back into this present awareness. So maybe some resonate, maybe some don't. This style of meditation, mindfulness meditation, is just about being here and being present. And it may sound a little cliche, but we really spend most of our lives, especially, especially in addiction, we spend most of our lives going away, doing, taking ourselves away from the present moment, away from what's going on. So mindfulness meditation is about just being here, being with the present moment, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, whether it's edgy or easeful, just learning to stay and to notice and to deepen the relationship with the world around us, and most importantly, with ourselves, and to hear these messages from the body, to understand what we feel and let ourselves feel what we feel, and giving ourselves permission. And some days it'll be easy, and some days it will be challenging. And we just keep coming back to meet ourselves again and again. Let's take about 5 rounds of breath together. Breathe in the nose. Breathe out the mouth with a sigh. Inhale and out the mouth. 3 more. In. Maybe audible. Ha. And again. Once more. Beautiful. You can open your eyes up. How are you feeling? Sometimes it doesn't take very long at all to completely shift our energy.